before, questions from yesterday's post, ask us what you want to know, questions from the videos we've done before if you need clarity, and the real questions that you're sharing right now. So don't be surprised. We don't have an angel or a random voice somewhere. We're going to have someone on the production team. We sound so cool. Production team, live, camera, lights.
Yeah,
action.
we have really some elegant IT guy here. Like one of the cool kids of, such a great guy, you know. Always doing justice to us when it comes to tech. Yeah. Great.
I hope we are clear, loud.
Yeah, you could, people could be sending in their comments if there are any issues, any necessary adjustments they want us to have before. You guys can send in your questions, queries, comments, recommendations.
I don't know if I have 4 eyes, but I can't see that far. I don't know if
you don't know if you have what?
If you
4
can see
eyes?
that far.
Okay, yeah. But
I can't see that far though. But I
Don't
can
worry.
see so many people have joined. We're so
Someone
excited.
is asking, how can I recover my land which was stolen?
how can I recover my land which was stolen?
Questions already coming in. Thank you for your questions. We also request that you send in a bit of clear questions.
Yeah.
How can you recover land which was stolen? I think the person who has asked this, I hope you're still on the live. Share with us a few more details. Stolen in what context? How?
Yeah.
But we shall generally share on we'll be
They're
taking
saying
down
that they
notes.
bought land in an area, and then after that someone came and reclaimed the land and said that it was theirs. But they had bought the land from someone.
I think we can start to respond to this. Before we
Okay,
start
are
on
we-
the ones that were sent in early, let's start with this person. Thank you for joining. So, how can you recover your land which was stolen? Before you even recover your land, would like to know, did you buy it legally? There's something under the law we call homework. Did you do your homework before you bought this land? Did you buy it from the right person? If you bought this land from the right person, had they sold it before? Are you the first buyer? So all those questions are very important because one, if you bought it from the right person, you're still able to, when you buy land, whether you paid half or a quarter, you paid a deposit, you have an interest in this land. You have an equitable interest, and the person who sold you this land has a legal interest, so they cannot sell it again. What are the nuances in this land sale? So that's very important for us to be able to guide you on how to recover. Has a person fully sold? Can you place a caveat? So maybe clarify on that. Did you do the homework, or the person you bought from, did you check whether they're the owners? And that's through the LC. You can go to the land registry. We also understand there's land that's bought on Ndagano, sale agreements. Did you see the sale agreements? Did you ask the neighbors these questions?
Yeah.
The answers may not address your particular issue. We'll just give a guideline such you're able to reach out to us with, this is my particular issue, this is what happened, and we're able to pick up from there and guide you.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Esther. And I recall in one of the judgments, it should have been the Supreme Court, yeah? One judge mentioned that land is not vegetable, and you know what that means? Land is not vegetable that you buy from unknown sellers just by the roadside. You know how probably after work you're going home, you'll be like, okay, I like that, the pineapples, let me go and buy. You don't know the name of the seller, you don't know where they brought it from now. Land is a very precious asset. What this basically means is that it's speaking to what, she mentioned, homework, legally speaking, due diligence. Did you take time to understand whether this person who sold you the land was the rightful owner of the land at that time? Were there any caveats on this land? Did you talk to the LC, to understand whether there were any issues or whether you were the first buyer? Okay. Did you go to the lands registry to see whether the land was actually in this person's, the vendor's name? So most times, if to avoid such situations, you'll need to do this due diligence or the homework, because a lot of discoveries are made during this process, and that basically informs you whether to proceed with the transaction or not to. Yeah, but if you know that you did all this and the land was fraudulently taken away from you, then basically the recourse, I think you would agree with me, is that you move court. You need to move court in these circumstances. Get yourself a lawyer, file a suit for the recovery of your land, and you will be able to.
All right. So we're not going to be able to tell you yes or no, but if you share the different facts, share the different facts of the case, we're able to deal with your case as a particular issue and guide you what options you have. From this, thank you everyone who is joining. We're excited. We're going to start on the questions.
Actually, maybe before we proceed there, I'm still so much intrigued by, the person who asked the question. I think later on we should be able to give them our contacts so that they can reach out to us for more guidance on this.
Actually, the assistant RDC in Toroko is asking, shed more light on the certificate of occupancy and the process of putting a caveat on a land title.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. So one, let's start with a caveat. Who places on a caveat? You have different types of caveats. There's a beneficiary caveat, spousal caveat, and someone with an interest on land. So if a scenario is if I bought land from Maxwell and he's trying to sell it to someone else, I have an equitable interest, I'm able to place a caveat. When you place this caveat, it's not, oh, now eternity. You have to act on it.
Yeah.
We have beneficiary caveats. If maybe my father left land, he has passed, and my siblings are trying to sell, or they're trying to steal this land from me, the administrator is being shady, I can place a beneficiary caveat on this land. What a caveat does, it stops anyone from acting. So if you want to sell the land, before you even transfer or anything is done, you will know there's someone with an interest on the land.
True.
So you're not able to do anything on this land. But also, you do not place a caveat on land and then sit back. Caveats expire after 6 months. The only caveat that does not expire is a beneficiary caveat. So once your issue has been resolved, that caveat will be removed, and then whoever is in charge of the land can be able to sell, rent out the land, or anything else.
Yeah. Maybe just to add something small there. A caveat is basically, a document that is, informing. It's basically a document that is issued out, let me say, by the registrar of lands, forbidding any further transactions on that land pending resolution of a dispute on that particular piece of land. Yeah, and going by her example, if I bought land from her, yeah, and later on I learned that she's trying to sell the land to another third party. Meanwhile, at that time, I already have interest in that land. So to prevent that further transfer or any other further transactions of that particular piece of land, I move the registrar of titles. Okay? How is the registrar of titles moved? One, by an ordinary letter. Okay? Then you're given a caveat form and you fill. Okay? Now, that particular caveat by the ordinary letter, you are supposed to attach what we call an affidavit explaining clearly, okay, your grounds as to why you're forbidding third-party transactions or any other further transactions on that land. So if the registrar is satisfied by the grounds you're giving, okay, then they will enter a caveat onto that title. Yeah, and from that time, ordinarily, this does not really prevent transactions on ground, but it prevents transfer of title, yeah, into the names of third parties. So this is still where it comes in, going back to the other earlier question, yeah?
Of the homework.
Yeah, of the homework, So you could buy land, and yet that land has been caveated, and there are issues. But also, as she said, you don't just lodge a caveat and you stop there.
Sit down, sit back.
After lodging a caveat, Ordinarily, if, for example, there are issues of fraud and what, you move court through an ordinary plaint, okay, for court to determine the issues that you are raising.
Before it.
Yeah. Now, going by an example, let's say fraud. You are alleging that she has sold this particular piece of land to 2 or 3 other buyers after you. You get it? You are the first to buy this
First
particular
buyer,
piece of
yes.
land. Ordinarily, you have the right. Yeah. First in time, first in right.
Yes.
Yeah. So you learned maybe from the neighbors that your vendor is selling this other piece of land to 2 other people before you transferred the title. Prepare an ordinary letter supported by an affidavit, file it in the registry. The registrar looks through it, lodges the caveat, file a petition, file a plaint in court, a suit in court, so that that issue can be resolved. Yeah.
So Max, I have a question. Someone is wondering, now we know land that is below 50 by 100, you don't get a certificate of title. But we've also bought land that's not registered, non-titled land. My land is, we have a sale agreement, I bought from someone, sale agreement, I sold to you, we have a sale agreement. But this land is not registered. And we know you can't caveat land that is not registered, that's not titled.
Yeah.
So at this point,
and we have seen issues with that actually, where particularly for, okay, there are different forms of unregistered lands. You know, caveats work only for lands under the RTA.
yes, registered land.
Yeah, registered land. But also, we have seen where circumstances, okay, for customary lands that I've dealt with. Yeah, you know, in every sub-county we have a customary registry
Yes.
of lands. Yeah, and we have seen circumstances where, for example, for customary pieces of land that have been entered into that particular registry. Yeah, due diligence does not only stop with registered land.
Yes.
Even unregistered land, you're supposed to do due diligence. Yeah, and I hope you know our people get that clearly. That if you're buying even unregistered land, you are still required to do your due diligence. Talk to the neighbors. Still, you can use your LC, okay? You can use other local leaders. These days we have the what are they
Area
called?
land
Area
committee.
land committee.
Yes.
What you are supposed to do, please, and we have seen this before, go onto the land, put there a big notice. This land
Those
is not
placards
for
we've seen
sale.
of buffet, don't sell,
Exactly,
don't buy.
exactly. Now that is for land that is maybe not titled or
Yes.
something. Okay. Now, how this helps you is that if a party comes and purchases this particular piece of land, okay, without them going to the ground to understand whether this land is in dispute or not, court presumes that they had the notice. Okay, they had the notice. This, it's not even implied, by the way. This is actually actual notice on the land.
Yes.
That this land is under dispute, do not buy. Ordinarily, whoever sees such a notice should have acted upon it, okay, to inquire deeper, right? So if you see the notice, okay, and you choose to keep quiet.
So if the notice, maybe I claim I put a notice and someone plucked it overnight. Let's assume you have land, it's not titled, so we are clear on titled land, you can place a caveat, but there are also other things you can do to protect this land. And that's similar to unregistered land that we are discussing
Yeah.
now. Have put my placards on the land, do not buy, do not sell, call me. In the night, someone wants to sell my land, the neighbors. So because I'm not there physically, they remove it, they bring their buyers to survey. They see that when they leave, they put them back. Is there anything else I can look at to be sure that we've told the people about homework? Homework includes maybe visiting the neighbors on all ends to see that, do you know this person, going to the LC with their copy of their national ID. That's why it's very important for everyone to have a national ID. Do you know this person, this name? Probably if it's registered land, you're going to the district or you're going to do a search at the registry. You'll be like, okay, the name is John Peter, but on the ID it's Peter Jane, and there's confusion.
Yeah.
So we've done that. But now imagine they've removed. What are the other things? we can do?
Ordinarily, you see, that if for example, you have I don't think really there's a specific provision of the law that speaks to such,
Yes.
But you know that in itself would tantamount to acts of continuous, you know, commission of the fraud in this case. Yeah, that's why it's important that to remedy this situation, please speak to the local council area, the LC of that particular area. Speak to the area land committee. You see, there are people, sometimes we go to buy land and we see there are those drunkards you find, you know, seated under mango trees, playing funny games. Talk to those people. Those guys have information regarding these things, yeah? And most times they know every single owner of a piece of land in that village. Don't undermine them.
Yes.
Yeah? They could give you vital information. Yeah? But if I put a notice on my land, yeah, you go ahead, you remove it, okay, and you proceed to sell the land, I can assure you, you still have remedy in court. Let me speak to one more thing here. We have seen people who are abroad, okay,
What's abroad?
okay, people who are
In Bulaya, outside the country.
outside the country, and they be like, I have my lawyer in Uganda, I trust him, so let me send my money to my lawyer to buy land for me. You send the money, the lawyer contacts another broker, okay? Meanwhile, in this process, the lawyer is not there on ground, yeah? The broker sells to you land that had been sold 2-3 times, okay? You come back to Uganda and we are faced with a similar situation.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and someone is telling you, you know, you bought air. You know, so in such a situation, what do you deal with? The law actually, like, if you choose to act through an agent, that agent is under obligation to do due diligence still.
So now, Maxwell,
Yes,
my
please.
question is, someone else can help me buy land
Yes, someone else.
legally.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can just meet you and be like, hey, help me buy a piece of land, or
Not just anyone. As I told you, land is not vegetable that you're going to buy from a
before
nonsense.
maybe also respond to that. So if they told me I bought air, does that mean someone has bought the land? Me, I bought the air on top. What does it mean?
In other words, your transaction was invalid right from the beginning.
So I
You
have no land, even the air. I thought maybe
The only
the
thing
air.
you can do is make recourse to court to recover your money from whoever you gave the money to buy for you the land.
So it doesn't matter if I didn't do my homework, as long as, okay, I've sent money, they've fed me.
It does, because it's a tedious process that will, you know, you'll end up spending more money on it. Yet you could have done, all you could have done is do the due diligence. Okay? And also, just let me give you another example. Due diligence does not stop in only talking to the LC. These days, people are avoiding professionals such as surveyors. You know, we have issues of overlapping boundaries. You know, we have issues of non-existent land. You have a title, but you go to the ground, the land is actually not
Not
there.
there.
You know, all these are issues that can be sorted. Please do not fear these surveyors. Do not fear these lawyers. Contact them. Talk to them. Take that surveyor to the ground. Establish, open the boundaries. Establish the boundaries of your land. Ensure it's not on a road reserve. Ensure it's not on a forest reserve. Okay? These are all things you should do to secure your interest in a piece of land.
All right, so we have other questions. Let's not dwell on this, but I think our takeaway or your takeaway from this is: one, do your homework, go on ground. If your land is not registered, it can still be protected. If it's registered land, archive it. If it's not registered, the placards, ensure the LCs are aware. You can't buy land in an area and the LC doesn't know you. Make sure that if need be the police, we have a land desk at police. They are aware in case of any challenges.
Yeah.
In case of any challenges, they're aware, or the neighbors also are aware. You may think you have 10 acres of land, yet in reality you have 2, and there are conflicts. So thank you for those questions. Keep them coming. We shall respond to them. And if you have a particular or personal question, our numbers are shared. Call us, and we will be taking on other questions that were asked earlier from the production team. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
So the first,
Someone has asked, can you tell us heirs? Our firstborn was made the heir and he started to threaten us. What do we do? The heirs have the right to do what they want. What does it even mean to be an heir? Are heirs automatic administrators and they
What
threaten
is the
you.
legal position? Their legal position, really.
You've heard these people say, I'm the heir, in Luganda they said I'm Sika because my father has passed, I'm stepping in his shoes. What
Mhm.
does it mean now? Do you make boss orders? So,
The thing is this, ordinarily, when legally speaking, yeah, when a person passes on, let's say intestate, okay, this person dies without a will, yeah, what ordinarily should happen is, and let me first make this clear, by the way, the heir does not have the right to keep instructing people around and do this and take possession of everything. There are other beneficiaries. You could be the firstborn, yeah, in that family, and they say you're the heir and everything. But there are other beneficiaries to that estate as well. You have brothers, you have sisters, you have other dependent relatives. Where do you leave them? Okay? All of them were depending on your father. To you, is it legally right to dispossess them?
I don't think so.
It's not.
Because under the law, as you said, we have two types of heirs. We have the legal heir and the customary. So the customary is usually for traditional things, because Africa and our culture, that doesn't mean you own the property. It's usually in instances of, because under the culture it's your father figure or your father. So if you don't have a father, that person steps in as a father figure or a mother figure in that instance.
At that time.
So if there is a will, that means property is divided according to the deceased's intentions. I want my land here, this here. If that's not there, someone can leave a will, and culturally they'll still appoint an heir, a customary heir.
Yeah.
And if there's no will, like you said, there is a percentage. So the law is very clear on how property is divided.
Yeah.
There's a percentage for the wives, for the children, for the dependents, and for the heir. And that's 1%. When you could be a child and an heir, you'll still get your 1% plus a percentage, which is 75 for the children.
Yeah.
So when you're an heir, it doesn't mean that all the property of the deceased now belongs to you and you decide. That's not how it works, because you could be wrong. You could be charged for intermeddling in the estate,
true.
or for taking property that belongs to other beneficiaries in the estate.
Now,
So,
let me also expound that, take the discussion a little further on how to proceed when, for example, you have someone who dies without a will and someone who dies with a will. Okay? Now, ordinarily, let's say someone dies with a will, yeah? He or she clearly stipulated what their last wishes were in the will, that, okay, I have this land in Mukono, let it go to my firstborn. I have this land in Muyenga, I have this business, we have this factory, we should keep it to generate money, all those things. In that will, they always appoint someone called an executor or an executrix, yeah, depending whether man or woman. We have also seen these people who have been appointed executors, claiming ownership of everything, yeah, and they're saying, now I'm going to give you according to how I wish, disregarding completely the will of the deceased.
the deceased.
This is unlawful. Yeah? And the beneficiaries under that will can actually make an application to court for you to be removed. And court appoints another
Beneficiary.
executor. Yeah? So as an executor, the right thing to do is move court for grant of probate. Okay? In other words, court is now recognizing you and giving you full powers and authorities to do what? To distribute
their property
according to the will of the deceased.
Okay.
Yeah. In other words, the most important thing here is the will of the deceased. What were his last wishes before he passed on? You do not deviate from those wishes. Yeah. The other circumstance is where someone has been appointed an administrator of an estate. How does someone get to be appointed? These are matters that we are seeing, and maybe later on we shall also talk about expiry of letters of administration these days. So if, for example, your father, your mother, or your uncle passes on intestate without a will, please sit down, okay? Call for a family meeting, sit down. This should be the first step. Sit down, agree amongst you who should be appointed the administrator. Make sure this meeting is recorded and everything is noted down in the minutes. Yeah? We have seen in other districts where these minutes are forwarded to the cow. Okay? Or in other places, the cow actually joins the family in the meeting. So it can be done both ways. Family can sit or the family can invite the cow and they generate 1 minute.
The cow is the chief administrative
The
officer.
chief administrative officer.
There's a time we kept on saying cow, cow. Then someone said, nah, yeah, it was in Uganda. And to see it as a meeting. So
Sorry.
chief administrative officer.
Chief administrative
The
officer.
cow represents, in Kampala, we have the office of the Administrator
Administrator
General. In other districts, the cow does that duty.
Exactly.
The chief administrative officer.
Someone is asking on TikTok, what about in cases where the deceased's will is not in the interests of the family?
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe let me respond to that.
Wait, let me
Okay.
complete this process
Mm.
here. Yeah? So, after generating the minutes and everything, you move the minutes to the office of the Administrator General. Yeah? What happens in the office of the Administrator General is for you to get a certificate called Certificate of No Objection. Yeah? So what will happen here is that person that you have appointed as your provisional administrator there at that time, there will be a notice that will be published by the Office of the Administrator General that runs for about 30 days, if I recall well. The purpose of this notice is to inform the general public, okay? And it should be published, most people publish in the Daily Monitor or the New Vision, newspapers of wide circulation. So that if there's anyone who objects to that person's appointment or receiving of the certificate of no objection, can raise it there and then. Yeah? Once you obtain that certificate of no objection, then you can now file a proper petition in court. Okay? Now, we have seen circumstances where people sign in these minutes and they disappear. Please note that before the Office of the Administrator General, in there, you will all be summoned to go there for identification. And you move there with your national IDs, with your LC letters. Okay? The same process takes place also in court. That once you're there, the registrar will call you, identify all of you, move your file to the judge. The judge will also require all of you to come. Okay? Because we have seen several fraudulent cases where people forge signatures of other people.
So I'm not invited to the family meeting.
You're not invited, but someone
guys-
signs for you. You get it? So to cut that particular kind of fraud, what they do is, the person you're saying signed here, call him. Let him come with his national ID. And he's identified. Yeah? This has locked out so many fraudulent people. And it has been a correct thing. So yeah, once that is all done, yeah, the judge will have no hesitation to issue out if the estate is beyond, from the High Court and the lower court, depending on the size of the estate. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe to pick up from where he talked about letters of probate, one of the questions I found was, so if I have a will, someone has passed on, we've buried them, should we just sit and read out, so my land here goes to this, my land here goes to this? Well, no, you don't just do that. There is a will, it's read out, there's an executor appointed. As the executor, you don't now okay, fine, tomorrow you'll take this. No. This you have to request court, a petition to court, and you attach the will, a petition for court to allow you to distribute this property.
Yeah.
So you attach the will, and this is for one, court to one, give you the authority to yes, distribute property of the deceased. Two, to see if the will is valid or invalid. We've had
Yeah.
instances of people forging wills.
Yeah.
Or you'll find 5 copies of a will. Someone has 5 wills saying different
And
things.
some wills are not signed on all pages,
So they have to look if the will is valid and all the properties in the will belong to the deceased, court will give you authority to then distribute.
Sure.
You don't just decide because there's a will. Then also from someone on TikTok has asked wishes of the family, if the will is against the wishes of the family. So when you're writing a will, you're giving out your property. My property, as when I'm alive, I have a right to own property and do with them as I please. This right also continues when you pass on. You have a right to decide how your property will be used and who will take your property. So if you have land, you can decide to put it in a trust. You can decide to give it out as a gift. So if in my will I have decided that all my property is going to be given out to strangers. But now that's where the issue comes in. If you can't decide for your property to go out to strangers, you have school-going children. Those are the
Yeah.
issues court will look into, and that's why the executor will have to apply to court to give them authority. But if you just feel like our wishes, me I wanted this land and I don't think my father gave it to me or my mother, or me I wanted to get this property instead of this one, those are not, what court looks at are the wishes of the deceased and how they still have a right to decide how their property is used. And also, if the will is invalid, in this point, you're going to apply for letters of probate. Court has said, this will is invalid. They'll look at the handwriting of the deceased. It's not the same handwriting. They'll look at, is it signed? Some property probably was sold.
Yeah.
So at that point, you go back now, as Maxwell explained, to get letters of administration because the will is invalid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to throw more light on that, and I think you have really explained it thoroughly well. Yeah. So we have seen circumstances where people die and in their will they say, my house, my everything, give it to charity. You know, I leave everything with my church. You know, yet you have dependent relatives, you have young children of school-going age, you know, and other people who are still depending on you. So in these situations, how do you can't just do that. And there are also people who give their matrimonial homes. You know, you have a wife, but you're saying, if I die, you know, maybe let this house be turned into a hospital or something. My wife and the kids should look for where to stay.
Where to stay.
It can't just be like that. Yeah. So ordinarily, your will must also align with what the law says.
Yes.
Yeah. And your will cannot be in breach of the law. That one is, court cannot allow that. Yeah. So in circumstances, Esther, where the will is maybe excludes one or two people who rightly should, you know, benefit from the will, they can, you know, make applications to court, and court will make amends for them within the will for them to, you know, have some benefits, yeah, under the estate. Then there are also circumstances where you discover that there are properties that are not included in the will, but actually you realize that they belong to the deceased. How do you do with that? You know, what do you do with that? So usually there's something that most lawyers know. It's called letters of administration with a will annexed. Yeah. In other words, they are not entirely disregarding the will. Okay. They are granting letters of administration while adopting some of the wishes of the deceased in the will that would be valid in the letters of administration. Yeah. So ordinarily that's how. But it's really on a case by case basis.
What we're trying to say here is, you could have a will, some parts of it are valid,
Yeah.
some parts of it are considered invalid.
Yeah.
So the valid bits, we shall proceed, then the invalid bits, we have letters of administration.
Trying to rectify,
Rectify.
or what's the right word really there?
Trying
Address.
to address the
Yeah,
challenges
yeah.
brought by the
We
will.
have two questions on Instagram. Someone is asking, what would be the best way to own land as a family or as siblings within one family? Maybe you would write them and note them. Then the other person asked, hello, I'd like to know if a promoter's liability ceases when a company is incorporated. Yes. Then we also have two questions on YouTube. Actually, there's a bit more than that.
Okay.
Someone has asked how many administrators are allowed for a specific estate. And then someone else has asked, we have a family that wants to sell the residential house. The son got letters of administration, but the widow wants the house to be sold. What should they do?
I think for some of the questions you'll need to go back to them because
Residential home.
as we are
Yes.
not in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the last one for now is, under what circumstances can a person writing a will exclude some beneficiaries from the will?
Under what circumstances?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me start with promoter's liability in this. It sounds so scholarly though.
Who
I
is
don't
even
know.
a promoter?
A promoter, okay. Ordinarily, within the law, a promoter are the people who come together with an intention of forming a company. Yeah, there are different activities that are done before the establishment of a company. Meanwhile, at that particular time, the company is still non-existent. Okay.
So we have an idea, me and you want to set up a company.
For
So
example,
do we
let's say
choose-
let's say you have knowledge in making shoes or
Mm.
something. Then we say, but why don't we start up a company that makes shoes
Mm.
in Uganda? Then you'd be like, okay, fine. We need to establish proper premises for this
Mm.
company. Yeah.
Mm.
So before we incorporate it, acquire land.
Mhm.
Maybe you go to a bank.
Mm.
You borrow money. Yeah. Me, I say, okay, we shall get a vehicle.
Mm.
All with the aim of establishing our
Establishing a
company
and
for
getting
making shoes.
properties.
Yes, you get it. Now, there are those liabilities that are incurred during that process.
Mm.
Okay? And once the company is now incorporated, properly registered, do those liabilities, okay, catch up with the people who are now most times directors or even shareholders? They transition
Mm.
from promoters to
To-
directors or even shareholders.
Or sometimes maybe we are both busy and we
Uh-huh.
decide, yeah, I have a friend who has a bit of time. Could they help us acquire these things?
Exactly, all those. Now, the question to this is that ordinarily, those the liabilities, the company makes a resolution, one,
Mm.
okay, to adopt
All the liabilities.
the liabilities.
Okay.
Okay. Now, once the company has adopted
What
those,
is the liability?
what's a liability? Let me explain what's a liability.
So
Okay.
maybe a liability is if I was doing this and it caused there any debts incurred,
Yeah.
any
Obligations.
someone is demanding, you were supposed to pay someone, you were supposed to clear containers, shipment, the agreements you're supposed to sign. So what a promoter acts on behalf. So any wrong or any positives that come out of my acting is a liability. So yes.
Yeah, okay. How best do I bring this out? You have really explained it so
So a
well.
promoter maybe could be me or you. We are starting a company together, or we are a bit busy, so we find someone else to help us with that. So you are a promoter, not that you're promoting this company, but you're doing acts before the company is registered.
It's registered.
So once we register the company, we of course you don't decide what to do for us.
Mhm.
Who wants to start the company? We say we want land here 50 by 100. We are going to pay in installments. But by the time this company is registered, we've not finished.
True.
But remember, they've been dealing with a promoter who
Mhm.
could be me or you or someone else.
Mhm.
So if it's either of us, then we have become directors. This is not my money. It's not me to pay.
Mhm.
It's me. I was acting as a promoter on behalf of the company. So the company takes on those debts,
Exactly.
even the land, which is a positive.
But it has to be by a resolution
Ah,
of the company.
So yes.
True. And I think this answers the
So what
question.
happens if the company says, we are not paying? You're a promoter, yeah, you got land, you wanted 50 by 100, you got 100 by 100, but you're like, but it was for the good of the company. What happens? as a
First
promoter?
of all, of course, promoters don't act on behalf of the company
Mm.
because at that time the
It's not
company
existent
it's not
yet.
existent.
Mm.
Okay, so some of these issues must be properly aligned before. Okay, if the potential shareholders or directors of the
Mm.
company say we need, let's say, 1 acre.
Mm.
Yeah, you as someone who has been appointed as a promoter, or even they themselves, because at that time they could also be promoters of that.
Mm.
You are under obligation to act to the specifications of what has been agreed upon.
Mm.
Yeah. Any other disputes, you go individually after those people.
Mm.
Okay, at that time.
So if they tell me to buy 50 by 100,
That is in case the company does not
adopt. So if they tell me to buy 50 by 100, I buy 50 by 100, they paid they paid half the purchase price.
Mhm.
And the other purchase price, they are dodging. So remember, I was dealing with the landowner, and the landowner is coming after me, so I can go to court.
But you also know that the company will have to make a resolution to acquire that particular piece of land.
Yes.
So the moment they do that, yes,
They are
then
liable.
they're liable.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in case if they have acquired, they refuse to use it, they've decided to buy other land, I can still take
As
them
long
and
as
seek
they,
redress.
yeah.
Okay. I think that answers it. Let's answer a bit more. We've been talking about land and wills.
There was a
and-
question that what
estates.
would be the best way to own land as a family or as
Family.
siblings? I don't know.
Mm.
Would you love to respond to that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So there are two ways we can own land and property. You can own them jointly. We have we have two ways to own land and land: joint tenancy or tenancy in common.
Yeah.
So as a family, you're going to decide what's best for you. Under joint tenancy, one, you put money together in equal share. Maybe if the land is 100 and we are two, he brings 50 million, I bring 50 million. We buy from one person. And then we buy, of course, we have what we call the 4 unities. You buy from one person, you have the same title, you have equal share. And what this means is, if we are two siblings, I could have children, you could have children. If I pass on, my share will go to him and not my children. My children at no point will say, oh, my mother had also, oh, my mother had land with this person and they're trying to cheat us. If we own in that regard, that means when I pass on first, my property will go to him. And he will decide who will take on the property. It now belongs to his estate.
Yeah.
And those are titles you'll see, Maxwell and Esther.
Yeah.
And that shows we have equal share. Then we have tenants in common, where I'll be like, hey, I buy some land, let me say here. Then I tell my sisters, you guys, come we buy land, let's live near each other. I have my 5 acres and says, I can only manage 2 acres. Kawa, you put your 2 acres, this one says, I want 1 acre, I want half an acre. That's tenants in common. The land could be together. It could be one big plot. Probably we don't know whose share is where. But that means, so when I pass on, my share will go to my kids.
Yeah.
Not him or not my other siblings who we
people
bought
within
with.
your estate,
You could buy in December, I'll buy in January, then you buy 3 years later. So that's the difference. So as a family, you decide if eventually you'll have kids and when you pass on, you want your land to go to your family, your sisters, then you can buy joint tenancy. If you want to own your property and then it passes on to your children, we would recommend for you to have tenancy in common. So you choose what's best, and in tenancy in common, you'll see Max, Esther, Joan, and that means...
That is on the title.
Yes, on the land
and
title.
it will be included there. Tenancy in common.
In common means you all have, there's a piece of land, you know there are 5 people who own it. Probably some will know I have 70, I have 30, I have 10. It's not yet certain, or it could be certain. You could all be using it like, oh, we all have land here, let's farm together.
Yeah.
But in case of I want to sell my share, I can say, okay, I bought 30% of the money. How many acres, we cut it out, I sell.
Yeah.
So as a family, I think you'll have to decide on that.
Okay, great.
There's a question on residential holdings. You have letters of administration, your mother wants to sell the house.
What's the context exactly?
So I think from the question someone asked, they could guide us
Could you guide us better?
If there are things you cannot distribute, whether in a will, you know you have wishes. We have the law, we have your wishes. You can't enjoy your rights while you're violating other people's rights. So there are things you cannot distribute in a while. It could be your wish they sell the house, or as an administrator you decide, I don't want this house, let's sell it and divide the money. Matrimonial or residential holdings, that one, no. If that's the only property that deceased has, there's nothing to be distributed. So that's property that belongs to the wife of the deceased. By wife, it's not come we stay or you've been living with this person. Wife of the deceased, all children of the deceased. And it's important to emphasize because I could be married, my husband passes on, and then he had other children. They can live in that house and then enjoy this home. So that's not property you can distribute in a will, or as an administrator you cannot also decide. So if you're the widow or if you're a family member and they're trying to sell the residential holding, petition courts. Bring this up to the attention of court. And that's why it's important before you even distribute property. If there is no will, have letters of administration. You're able to take the matter up to court. If there is a will, letters of probate, and court has given this person authority, but they're acting contrary to the law. Yes. How many people can be on letters of administration? There are people who the law says they must must be the widow or widower. If your spouse has passed away, why are you excluding
And
the
actually,
wife?
widows and widowers don't need
They don't
certificate
even-
of
yes.
no objection.
Widows, widowers, then as a family you sit down. We're not going to dictate. You're going to have a family meeting. Maxwell earlier on said if you're not agreeing, invite the cow to the meeting. He will guide you, or at some point he will act in this capacity and say, okay, now you're not agreeing. This is what's going to happen for the
Yeah.
best of this estate.
Yeah.
We don't want your estate, the estate of the deceased, to waste away because we're in constant fight of I don't want you, I don't like you. You know you're this, you're this.
Yeah.
So you look at people with good character, look at people who have best interests, who are going to act. So you'll decide 1 to 3 people. If the deceased has a spouse who is living, those ones have to be on, unless they choose not to
Yeah.
be part of it. So you could be, usually we don't recommend 1 or 2 people. 2 people we could connive, but when there are 3 people, there is a third opinion.
Basically, well, I think the person's question is there like a limit to the number of people on letters of administration?
There's actually no limit.
There's actually
If
no
my
limit.
father had 100 children, you can't
There's not.
limit us
As
to
long
3.
as they are all in agreement, as long as the family has sat down and agreed that we are going to have these people, they are good to go.
They are good to go.
Yeah.
Maybe also to add to that.
But please don't leave out the widow or the widow.
Yes, don't leave
We
out
have
the-
seen uncles who come and be like, okay, fine, you know what?
my
We are
brother.
taking. It
Yes.
was my brother. So we shall make the application and get one of us appointed. No. That is not, you know. Unless maybe it's really in the best interest of the estate also.
Over estate.
Yeah. That, you know, probably this. Anyway.
But also we have
don't think
instances
so.
where someone is appointed. I'm going to convince you guys that I'm going to work in your best interest. We distribute this property. I want all of us to be happy. Letters of administration have been granted, and I'm like, you're going to feel it. Now I'm not going to distribute this estate. I'm going to decide. We sit down now and let's distribute, and I need some land. I need this. And like, no, until I decide. Can we remove someone?
Yes. You see, what happens is this: when someone receives the letters of administration from court, they have been granted, right? First of all, they are under obligation to file an inventory. An inventory is basically an account of how you have been functioning with the estate, what the activities you have been doing with the estate. Yeah. For example, you say, okay, we finished the burial expenses, we paid. Okay, this month we paid the school fees of the children of the deceased, or we finished procuring the land title of this deceased that he had not yet acquired. All those things you must properly put them, document them, and file them in court. Okay, but as you said, there are some administrators that upon acquiring the letters of administration, they become too big-headed. Yeah. They start chasing the children of the deceased from the land. And this is sometimes common with uncles and, you know, those other people. Yeah? The beneficiaries, the children of the deceased, can actually make an application to court and have the letters revoked from that person and granted to someone else.
Okay.
Okay? And that someone else must also go through the clear process that this person went through to obtain the letters. Yeah? So in the moment, that moment when you choose to act contrary to the best interest of the estate and its beneficiaries, you could lose that letter anytime if they choose to move courts to do that.
So me being appointed administrator, I'm
Does
acting
not,
on their
that does
good-
not give you
on their
exclusive rights
behalf.
how to handle things whichever way you want because you have been appointed. You must still stick.
to what was agreed upon and
Exactly.
what's best. So also maybe to add to that, administrators, if we are co-administrators and you're making it hard for us to do our work, we can petition
And
to
get
have
you
you
removed.
removed. Maybe the last one before we have further questions. This is a very common question we have. My father has excluded me from the will. Can I exclude one of my children from the will? Does it make the will invalid?
I would love you to respond to that.
I've handled or I've seen a question like this. I've seen so many of these.
Yeah.
So we have beneficiaries to your estate. Usually when you exclude someone, it's your property. You have a right to deal with it as you please. But one, you can't have school-going children and exclude them from the will. Yet you have property. How are they going to go to school? You have a wife, you want to chase her out of the house and sell the property. One, there are people you cannot exclude from your will. Children, you can't give out some property. But if you choose to, say maybe I'm going to exclude Esther, she was bad, give your reasons. We encourage you, include your reasons why you want to exclude them. But if I've been excluded, I can still petition to court. Why am I not benefiting from my mother or my father's estate? And that's up to court to decide whether rightfully you're not going to get anything, or like he said, if all they're going to make an exception and you'll get something.
Actually, bad manners is not even a justification to be excluded from our will.
So usually we'll encourage you, put a reason if you want to
And
exclude
we
someone.
have seen it. Now, I'll give you a scenario that this gentleman, you know, he was at that time a prominent, no, he is actually a prominent guy, you know, and he says, he approaches one of the lawyers and he says, my son is trying to disorganize my businesses. Yeah, he has been communicating to my employees that he's next in line. He's only waiting for me to die because he's my firstborn. So he's next in line. All you employers, all you employees should be what? Should be ready for this. But the guy says that I decided to buy him a piece of land, okay? And I said, move out of my house, go start your life there. I've given him his property already, okay? I have other younger kids, and I want them to benefit from the remaining properties. Now, you that you have,
You've been sorted.
you have been sorted, are you still entitled to other parts of the estate?
My estate. I think that's a very valid reason to exclude someone from our will, because I have given you, I didn't leave you nothing, I've given you something, but also it's in the best interest of my children, the younger ones, that I leave them this property, so they also get an education.
Exactly.
That could be a very valid reason.
So it's really on a case-by-case basis, and it only succeeds on the exceptions. Yeah.
You mentioned something, and it reminded me of, we've had kids, I think we've handled a case where the child attempted to kill the mother so that they can take over the land. So under the law, you can't gain from your bad manners. One, you can't kill your parents, whether they've written a will and given you property, but if at any point you kill your parents, you will not benefit from that estate. That property, you can't be given to you. If there is no will and it can be shown that you killed your mother or caused something that led to their death or demise, you will not get anything, because the law is also trying to prevent wrongs. Because now we shall be able, we will see more people saying, oh, now this man is old enough, let's do something, and we are able to take this property. So you cannot benefit from your wrongdoing. We see so many people have joined. We are so happy you're here. Keep the questions coming.
Someone asked the difference between our between matrimonial property and residential holding.
The two are one and the same. Residential holding, matrimonial property. So residential holding, so this could be where the family house is and you're living with the family. It could be the farm where you guys get what? Food. You have a piece of land here, but there's land neighboring where you grow your matoke, cassava, and for the family's sustenance.
Yeah.
So that's property that cannot, usually the words are used interchangeably: family land, matrimonial property, residential holding. We've had an instance where actually someone asked, so there is the house, but there's land near the house. We have some matoke and maize on it, so can we sell that land and we leave the house? Well, no, you cannot. So that's property that's going to stay, and for the family, all family members, wife or wives of the deceased, and the children. So family property or matrimonial property differs. If a man has two wives, they built a house in Muyenga, this one in Kololo, you can't claim now you want that. When you, as you're married, you've been living in Muyenga, this one is living in Kololo. You can't decide now I want to move into the Muyenga household because I'm a wife.
Yeah.
That doesn't work unless you've been living in that house, the both of you as wives with your husband. Then yes, you can both live, but you can't decide now I want to move in here because I like this better.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we have other questions on that end?
There were other questions that we had received actually
Earlier on,
yesterday
Yes.
and during the week.
Mm.
Yeah. Let the production team,
Read us some of the questions, but also keep the questions coming. We are happy you're here. Maybe also there's a question on names. We're getting new IDs. People want to change their names.
yeah.
People want to, because someone said, me, I don't like the name my parents gave me. It's my chance. Because when they got the national ID, they were in high school. So like, it's my chance. So there's dropping a name. Probably you've seen. Usually the boys want to take on footballer names.
Yeah, I'll give you examples. You know when and you must have seen this before, of the NERA people came and they were registering people in high schools.
Mm.
Yeah, someone on their birth certificate, for example, they are having Serung Joji
Mm.
Godfrey. Yeah, he decides to add there Ozil.
Who is Ozil?
Ozil was a football player, okay, or Ronaldo. Like there's a third name, there's a fourth name, all these things. Now things are catching up with them. They are supposed to register for exams, and UNEP is saying, bring your birth certificate. And your birth certificate is having Serengeti Godfrey, but your national ID and where you registered from
Has Ozil.
Ozil, Ronaldo, Messi. How do you deal with this? How do we remove the names? Okay.
How do I maintain it?
How do you
if I want
maintain it? Like,
Mm.
just if you could help us explain how
So-
to go about it.
I'd like to say your name is your identity. If you're John Peter, there is also, that only John Peter. There's John Peter Max. Those are two different people. So let's give two scenarios. If you're John Peter Max on your birth certificate, P7 you forget to use Max, you use John Peter. Senior 4 you're John Peter Max. So now there will come a problem like, hey, maybe you're applying for a job or somewhere and they're like, a passport. John Peter and John Peter Max could be different people. Names are not exclusive because you're John Peter, there will be someone else. So you'll have to confirm that actually my birth certificate is John Peter Max.
Yeah.
I am the one who searched for P7, it's the same that did senior 4. We've also had universities where your national ID has John Peter Max, but you get a certificate with Max John. You'll get a statutory declaration confirming that actually John Peter Max and this John Peter are one and the same person. These documents belong to the same person. Then there are instances where you want to drop a name. You're John Peter Max. You don't like the name Max, you want to drop it. Or you like the name Max, you want to add. Those are different people. So that's a whole different procedure. You need a deed poll. You include your old name.
What's a deed poll?
So a deed poll is a legal document that would help you change your name, change your identity legally and officially.
In other words, you're saying previously I was known by this name.
And you're a different person. You can't just say, now I want to be John Peter Max. Those are two different people. So you can't just decide, now I'm going to announce on TikTok and tell my friends officially. You can tell your friends on TikTok, they'll call you that. But officially, we won't know you.
Yeah.
So there's...
So do you mind speaking more about the process of that?
So
Through
that-
the gazetting,
Yes.
the preparation of the documents and submitting to NERA and everything.
So when you want to change your name, drop a name or change from Peter Max to a whole new person, change your identity, drop a name, add a name, you'll be required to have a deed poll. This is a legal document that tells us your intention. What's your intention? I want to change my name. How? You want to add, you want to subtract, or you want to adopt new names. You'll prepare this document. In this document, it will have your old name, the one you're currently using, the new names you want, and the why. The why is I want to drop this name.
Yeah.
The why is I want to add this name. The why is I want to just get new names.
Yeah.
You'll have an affidavit confirming that you're telling us the truth. You're not lying. You'll have 2 witnesses. You'll sign. You'll take this document and gazette it. To gazette is to put in a gazette is, we have the National Gazette where if you want to change name, you notify the public.
Yeah.
I'm going by this name. I'm not going to be going by this name. This will run for 30 days.
Yeah.
For 30 days, then with that document, you'll apply to NERA.
Yeah.
So at NERA, you'll be required to go with this original deed poll, the gazette notice. They'll even require you sometimes get a letter from the LC.
Yeah.
Go with your birth certificate, or they will require other documents.
Yeah.
You go to NERA, present these documents, they'll verify them, and then they'll be able to change your documents officially. But when you change officially, this means that now you're going with your new identity.
You don't again go back to.
You don't go back.
Mm,
So yes,
I
there's
totally
dropping and adding. Yes, please.
yes.
Someone is asking us on TikTok,
Mm.
what if one of the beneficiaries is staying in the property? Is it still subject to division? Like you have a brother or a cousin staying in one of their parents' houses or
Mm.
apartments,
Mm.
and they evict them and say, we are going to divide this house.
Mm.
Now the thing is this. Let me respond to that. Usually for purposes of convenience, and I've seen this a lot by the way, that someone passes, but probably a son or one of the beneficiaries
Mm.
was using a particular piece of land that actually belonged to their late parent. Yeah? And the family could sit down
Mm.
and say, fine, since you're here, for purposes of convenience, please proceed with it.
Mm.
Okay? You can continue using it. Yeah? Or in some circumstances, depending on the size of the estate,
Mm.
they might ask you, okay, take a share, divide a share
Mm.
for maybe
Take
your
a
brother.
sitting room, take a bedroom.
No, no, not that. I'm giving an example of land.
Okay.
Yeah, of land. And let's say the land is probably 5 acres. Yeah, and this
Mm.
person has been using it,
Mm.
but the land was for their parent. Yeah.
Mm.
Instead of taking them through the entire process of division and what, they could say, okay, fine, you take it all.
Mm.
Other beneficiaries under the estate could take some other
Something else.
properties. Yeah.
Okay.
But also they could choose to say, you take 3 now
Mm.
going forward, give 2
To this person.
to this person.
Mm.
Or you take 1
Mm.
and we give 1 to each one of, you get it?
Or the other family
Exactly.
beneficiaries.
Exactly.
Okay.
This now entirely depends on how the law dictates on how the percentage,
The
Okay.
size of the estate.
the size of the estate and the percentage to ensure that everything being divided fits within the percentage.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll give a very practical example. This is my pen. Maxwell, please have my pen and use.
Okay.
Does it become his? No,
No.
it doesn't become his.
Definitely.
It's still my pen. And I have an estate. So when I pass on, this is my book, it's part of my estate. This is my bottle. These are my rings, part of my estate.
Yeah.
So when I pass on, they'll bring everything within my estate, including this
Including
pen
that, yes.
that I have given him to use. And then we shall sit down as a family and divide it. So
Yeah.
if you've been in an apartment, how were you given this apartment? To use, to live there, that doesn't mean it stops being part of someone's estate.
Estate.
However, there's something, a concept called gift in survivors under the law, where before my father passes or my mother, they say, you know what, I've given you this house now, let it be yours.
Mm.
How do we confirm that it was a gift, it was given? There could be a written document. Or, how do you accept a gift? It's your, I've given you this land, now you take it, it's yours, it's a gift. Accept the gift, utilize the gift. And also, it's important, we encourage you, let there be witnesses, let there be documentation. If it is a gift, it does not form part of the estate. You
True.
can't give and take back. If my father has gifted me this apartment, it's mine. But that also doesn't mean when we are distributing the estate, I don't get. Have been gifted this, but you can't bring this apartment as part of the estate.
All for you already given. So you're not entitled
So-
to this. No.
If he has a will, he'll say he'll distribute his property again.
Yeah.
But also, if you have a will, you can't redistribute what you have gifted because it's now mine.
Yeah.
I hope that's clear.
On that very subject of gifts, we are being asked, and if the gift is from a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, do you return it?
Love gifts.
Love gifts. This is a question we received so many questions. We're actually discussing it earlier this week. Love gifts. If you've given me a gift, I've accepted it.
maybe
It's fine.
we first make general comments on gifts.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the intention? Was the intention to give it to you, then you return it upon the end of the relationship, or
Or-
yours?
I think when someone gives me a gift, it's mine.
Definitely, that is it. Yeah?
Because why are you
So,
assuming?
if it's a gift, yeah, and if you choose to go to court, by the way,
Mm.
what was the intention? That's what court is going to look at. What was the intention? You gave it to this person, yeah, and your intention was not to get it back after the end of the relationship, yeah. So you are under no obligation whatsoever to start reclaiming it,
To return it.
To return it. No. Even if you go to, I don't know,
Where?
ICC, I don't know,
So,
you will not get it. Now, there are also circumstances. Actually, there is a recent court decision to this that, you know, and this was in respect to customary land. Yeah. Of course, when you're in court or in law school, you know, or whenever they study law, they will tell you for a gift, you know, to suffice as a gift interviews, there must have been written down, proven this, land, transfer documents, and all those. So, for example, in respect of customary land, and we don't have any documents, yeah, someone gave you land in 1970, okay? You have lived on that land. This person died in 1980. The grandkids are coming in 2025 to say, this was part of our grandfather's estate. He had a few sons. Now we are many. We want our land back. Yeah? What is the position of the law on that? And there is the court decision to this is that, first of all, you have no right whatsoever. You were not even there when they were giving this land. Yeah? You are not there. So on what basis do you come to say, now we are trying to repossess our grandfather's land? Or even if it was your father, or even if your brother, you get it? Because what was the intention? By the mere fact that this person has lived on this particular piece of land for all these years, uninterrupted, yeah? The intention was for it to be permanent. You get it? So definitely, that is how it should be. Someone gives you a gift,
You've accepted
it.
It has become your property.
You have no obligation.
Actually, when you gift me
To
land,
return it.
I have accepted it. If you want to use it, please ask me. I can say no. Because it's
Exactly.
now my property.
Exactly.
And when I say no, you can't cry. The most you can do is tell people I have bad manners. Legally, nothing. But also, as we're talking about gifts, we've had people who gift, maybe me and you own a piece of land. I'm in love. I gift it to my boyfriend. But remember, we own it together. And now this, you're here saying, I want to use my land.
Give your share. Don't give my share.
So when you're gifting, it's important. You cannot pass on what title that you don't have.
Exactly.
Or you can't be so excited that I decide to gift someone your phone. No. You gift what you own.
Please emphasize that. You cannot gift someone what does not belong to you.
If you own it half, if I have my
I
land
see your
half,
car in the parking, and I'll be like,
gift
okay.
my seats or the whole car.
Hey, like I'm giving
Before
this.
we forget, you reminded me, someone asked yesterday in the let's call an ask away, that question thing. You people, you think blocking only happens in relationships.
Well,
The landlord is blocking the tenant is blocking the landlord. So someone asked us, if my landlord, I failed to pay rent for a month, the landlord has locked, and they blocked me, I can't go to the house, they blocked my number. I can't reach them. The caretaker keeps laughing at me. What do I do? But they still, the landlord has told them, until you finish my rent, it's
What
been
did
a
you tell the
month.
person? What's the position of the law on that?
First of all, you are so amused because you think we're only blocking people in relationships. But what happens if you're that tenant? So when you live in someone's house as a tenant landlord, you have an agreement. It could be oral, by word of mouth. Okay, you live in my house, you pay on 30th, you give me this much. Or it could be written. So we've agreed I'll live in your house, I'll pay you rent. What happens if I don't pay rent as a tenant? As a landlord, if you're pursuing me, you have two actions. One, claim for your rent, and then evict me, give me notice.
Yeah.
But we've also had tenants ask, okay, me, I still wanted to live in the house, I want to pay the landlord. Why is he chasing me? I'm not going to pay for that month's notice they've given me. When you, the tenant, you're in a month, you're in default, and then they give you an eviction notice. You've lived in this house, are we still together? You've lived in this house for 2 months. Whether you're still in or you've moved out, the landlord will pursue you.
True.
As a landlord, if this person has moved out and gone elsewhere and they're not paying, you have option to go to the small claims court to claim for your rent.
Yeah.
What if I'm now the tenant? Now, like my person that paid rent, 3 months, 3 months. So business was tough. Came the landlord, put a padlock, told the landlord, give me a chance, give me time. The landlord said 0. He got some money, paid for 1 month. The landlord locked on the 13th of the second month. He has not accessed the business premise. He has no money. So he's wondering, what do I do? He requested the landlord, okay, fine, give me my property. Maybe capture some and let me go, I'll pay you slowly. The landlord said 0. The caretaker said, I think you're not going to reach him. He has blocked you. True to his word, the caretaker, he had been blocked. As a tenant, what do? 1, you can't be charged for a premise you're not using. Because our agreement was, I use this for a business premise, I pay you.
Yeah.
You blocked me out.
Yeah.
So what options you have? 1, we have a community liaison officer at the police station. You can seek help. We have the LC. Go have an agreement. You've paid for the month. You cannot be charged for a premise you're not using. So the landlord should either decide to evict you or let you use the premise and then you're able to collect rent and pay back.
True.
So if you're the landlord, you're not going to be paid if you've locked someone out, they're not using. So choose to either evict them, they'll pay you, or 2, let them come back and use the place and pay you your rent.
Yeah.
So in this case, I was able to tell the person, pay for the 1 month you used, and for the time you've used, go and have an agreement. So that if the landlord wants to capture your property, you can only do that with a court order. Otherwise, you're acting on your own and
True.
you're illegal.
True.
So don't block your landlord.
I think
But
that's-
also if you're the landlord, there was a case we were discussing earlier. It was a standalone house. The tenant has blocked the landlord. They knock, they don't open. What do? Please utilize your LCs. Don't go fighting on your own. You'll be beaten. You're trespassing. Use the LC, use the area police. Go, send this person a notice and evict them from your house.
True.
Eviction doesn't mean you don't pay the previous rent owed.
True.
I hope that's clear.
Yeah.
Someone has asked a family question.
Yes, please.
If the father of my child takes away the child, do I still need to be involved in that child's life?
Okay. Let me respond to that, Esther. First of all, under the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, every child has a right to live with their parents, here being mother and father. Okay? And we have seen circumstances where there could be disagreements between parents, and the other one says, you're never seeing this child again, or you're never meeting this boy again. Yeah? And really, true to their words, they cut every single communication. You are in direct violation of this child's right. Yeah? Irregardless of the disagreement you have between the two of you, this child must know their mother, must know their father, and they should be able to spend time with both of them, except when it's in their best interest that, they could be hurt or injured or, harmed in a certain way. Okay? But even as that, it should be decided by a court, not you as an individual who is trying to prevent this child from seeing their mother or their father. You get it? So the bottom line to this is, you should be involved in this child's right, because it's the child's right to know you as their mother and also to know their father. So the parents in this case should find a way of working things out. If not, then you can apply to court and court will guide you on how to go about this. But do not violate this child's right.
So what we're saying is, yes, whether we were married, we are separated, I still have a right to my child.
Exactly.
But also maybe to...
And the child himself or herself has a
Has a
right,
right
to
be.
with both parents.
So the bottom line is, yes, you have a right to access your child and be in their lives. I don't know if you mean financially, physically, emotionally, or all of it. But you have a right to. If you're separated, we have custody arrangements. You're either going to sit and agree or you're going to involve court. When you agree, because, okay, fine, I'm near the good schools, the child will live with me during the week, and then the father visits, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Financially, because now I have the child, usually some people be like, if you want the child, I am not going to support. No, both parents have that duty. You cannot neglect your child. If you don't agree, still go to court. Court is going to guide you. But I also can't just wake up and say, this man is bad, I don't like him. You don't decide whether I'm bad or good. it's what's best for my child. If you feel like someone, it's not in the best interest of the child, it's not good for the child to be able to live with this person because of their behavior. They have certain behaviors not good for the child. Go to court. Only court
it's
can
only
decide.
court that can decide that.
Actually, I can report you for refusing me to access my child. Yes.
Yeah.
So court will decide whether I'm good. If court says, okay, fine, the child can't live with you, but you can visit for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you see my visiting is that when I visit the child, you go to the bar for my 2 hours, court can still take away those visitation rights.
Yeah.
But if the mother of your child or the father of your child denies you access out of whatever issues,
And
report them to court.
Yeah.
Also, if the child has been given to me during the week and you're like, fine, you've gone to court, and the father of the child picks the child, you have stolen the child, because at the moment legally it's known, the child is with the mother drops the child, the mother picks the child from school, you visit. So you coming to take this child away, you're violating the court orders.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, I think, do we still have time? Keep
We
joining.
have
So we still have time. Someone was asking, but you people have reported this man to court. Court told him to pay child support. He did for 1 month and realized, kumbe court is not coming to supervise me.
Oh.
And they stopped following the orders.
Oh, wow.
And she's wondering, okay, man, do I give up? Do I take care of my child? Because it's hectic.
How do you fail to respect court order? How?
You know, we say under the law, all crimes have to be written and a penalty described.
I
But
agree
there
with
is
you.
an exemption.
You see, there's something called contempt of court. Yeah. If court directs that you have to do A, B, C, D, yeah, you must do it. If you don't agree, stay that decision through a formal application with your lawyer and appeal. As long as that decision has not been challenged yet, you must fulfill it. If not, you will be arrested and put in prison for contempt of court. Contempt is simply you're
disobeying
you're
court.
disobeying court, yeah? And that offense does not have to be written anywhere. It's actually in the Constitution, by the way. And it clearly says, except with contempt of court, yeah? All other offenses must be written down and the punishment provided for. Principle of legality. So this is an exception. Respect every court order, okay? So if, going by your example, court has ordered this gentleman or this lady
To pay
to pay child support every month this amount, and they don't do it, please go back to that same court and tell court the person you ordered has chosen to disobey you. Then court will act. Yeah.
So usually people think contempt of court is just if you refuse to pay. It also applies to, let's say, land matters. Court has said, you know what, you guys have issues on this land, no one use it because
now.
you have money, what, you decide to continue. That's also contempt of court.
Yeah.
You're in court, you've decided, you know what, I'm not going to win this case, but I'm going to cause katemba, bubu, you're in court, I'm going to cause chaos. That's contempt of court. Or the language you're using in court is not proper. For us, the lawyers, contempt of court is, there's a contentious matter in court, I'm brilliant, I've decided, cameras, light, action, press conference. You're disorganizing that just, you're going to make it hard for what? Courts to decide because there's public opinion.
It's really a broad,
So,
you know,
and court decides, they'll arrest you, they'll fine you, they'll probably, for some of us, the lawyers, take away your license, or whatever court decides. It's
Yeah.
up to court to decide.
Sometimes they'll withdraw it for 2 weeks.
Okay, so someone has asked 2 final questions on our end. The first one is, if I may ask, are there types of marriage contracts in Uganda?
Types of marriage contract.
Can you contract to get married?
For 2 weeks. Maybe we're going on holiday, like, let's go as a couple, 2 weeks, have a good time.
No, we don't. We don't
Well,
have.
no. In Uganda,
In Uganda, we
you
don't
have
that.
contracts for marriage,
Yeah,
but we have legally recognized marriages.
yeah.
We have marriages that are monogamous, that's one man, one woman, or we have polygamous, one man, the number of women you want to, which I don't agree with. As a woman, I should also probably be allowed
No, we shall
to
debate
marry
that. We shall
the
debate that
number of
another
women
day.
I want.
Yeah.
So we have customary marriage that's done according to the girl's culture. The man can marry 5 women or 10 as long as he fulfills what the culture says. We have the Islamic marriage. You are limited to 4 women. We have the Hindu marriage. That's done according to that. Then we also have
Civil.
civil and church marriage.
Yeah.
Civil marriages are done at URSB. If you remember, we talked about the CAO, the Chief Administrative Officer. If you're not within Kampala, you have the office of the CAO,
Yeah.
where you do the civil marriage. It's one man, one woman,
All through.
all through. You can't decide to marry me customarily, then you're like, let me take this one to the, let's have a civil marriage. If you've married someone, if you've contracted a polygamous marriage, you cannot then contract a civil
Civil.
marriage. You cannot have, let me not even use the word contract. You cannot have a civil marriage.
Yeah.
Then church marriage, don't go to any church. It's one man, one woman, not in the church that's closest to you or that has the best building. The church has to be licensed, recognized. Even the pastor or the priest marrying you has to have a license.
Please emphasize that again. So many people are walking with marriage certificates thinking they are
But
married.
the church looks beautiful, the pastor preaches to you or the priest, but they're not recognized. So the church has to be licensed. The officer or minister in church, pastor, priest must also be licensed to
Yeah.
wed.
Yeah.
Then if you choose to have an outdoor wedding, it's been common that you have to get a license permitting you to
For
have
that
your
particular
church
place.
marriage or your civil marriage at the beach.
Yeah.
So, final question. Please talk about the powers of a guardianship order. One, sell the property of a minor.
Guardianship order. Who is a guardian? So to be a guardian, you don't just choose, okay, my sisters, I want to take care of this one's child. It's an order you get from court giving you parental responsibility over a child. You could be taking care of a child, but under the law, we don't know you. So you go to court, get that order, court gives you the guardianship order. As a guardian, you have parental responsibility over a child. Before you sell this property, you don't say, now I'm the guardian, I do as I please. You need to get permission,
Go back to court.
go back to court, and they permit you. You don't just decide, I just need some money, we need to go on vacation. There will be a reason why. Is it essential needs, school fees, necessities? Maybe the child has a medical condition and you need
It's
this money.
Entirely in the best interest of the child.
So what is best for the child, that you sell this land or not?
Yeah. And by the way, guardianship orders are only given by the High Court these days. That's one thing we should know. So, okay, maybe just to close it up with that, you're being given full parental responsibilities. It's not part-timing. Or
Not I want
I'm in
Christmas
the
time,
moods, I'm not in the moods,
vacation.
I'll pick you. No, it's full, and that is called legal guardianship. Leave alone the customary where,
Yes.
yeah. So, specifically, we are talking about legal guardianship. You have full parental responsibility, yeah? And if you choose to sell a property of a child, go back to court to get permission. And one thing you must demonstrate to court is that the sale, the proceeds you're generating from the sale, are going to be used for the benefit of the child. I think this.
You talked about customary guardianship. We're running out of time, but please reach out to us and let's have the discussion. So customary, our laws recognize culture and
Yeah.
our customs. So the law also allows you to sit down as a family and choose a guardian for this child according to your customs
Yeah.
and culture. Once that person is appointed, we will look up to you in case the child is not going to school. Culturally, cultural customary guardians are recognized under the law. So if you have any questions, or should we, please reach out to us. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you for making the time. Parting shots, okay. We're being reminded by the producer. Thank you for making time. Thank you for joining the live. We know we've not answered some questions or you've not had a chance to. You joined a bit late. Reach out to us on our various social media pages on Facebook, Barefoot Lawyers Uganda. On WhatsApp, our number, I believe, will be shared, or it's shared somewhere there. On TikTok, please share your questions and watch our videos. We create a lot of content. Call us on our phone number. Should I read it or is it? Our phone number is 0392 177 405. You speak directly to a lawyer. Maxwell here told us he speaks 5 languages earlier.
No,
So you're
I said
covered. 3. So yes,
including
thank you.
Kinyarwanda, so.
Says See you next time on the next live. And yes.
All right. Thank you so much. My parting shots, please. Kind reminder: don't just buy land as if you're buying vegetable. Do proper due diligence to avoid going to court. 80% of cases in court these days are land cases, by the way. You wouldn't want to be part of that and spend the next 10, 15 years battling it out. Yeah? It's a precious asset. Take your time, do not rush. Other than that, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you again. Please keep interacting with us on our different socials. We are ever available to help you with any legal issues that you might be facing. Have a good day. Bye.
All right.